All
So
right.
good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Today is the 9th of April, 2023, and today we have Filmor from the Philippines. Good evening over there in the Philippines, dear Filmor.
Good evening, everyone, and good morning to the rest of our participants.
Yes, let's, as usual, let me share my screen. I hope it works quickly because it usually takes some time, okay, like now, for example,
Mm-hmm.
to start working. It is always frozen. Here it is. Okay, if you want to wait. Okay, as I said before, it's April the 9th, 2023, and this is our 96th International English Online Meeting. If you want to contact me, this is my WhatsApp number. And if you want to watch the past videos, here you can find them in our YouTube channel. So who is presenting soon? Gracia Maria Mendoza from Honduras on April the 23rd. Then Laura Holland from the USA on May the 7th. Then Debra Suarez on May the 21st. After that, Christine Kuhn from the USA on June the 18th. Lisa Mann also from the USA on July the 9th, one day before my 60th birthday. And then Cristina Mauricio, a new friend from Mexico, she will be talking on August the 27th. So who is presenting today, dear friends? Today we have Filmor J. Murillo. What does J stand for, Filmor?
Uh, J is Jakub.
Oh, Jakub. Okay, next.
Yes.
So Filmor has been teaching in the university level for more than 20 years. He's currently an associate professor at Camarines Sur Polytechnic Colleges in the Philippines. He also serves as the director for international relations of his school and a duly accredited school representative of the Bureau of Immigration Philippines. He holds a BA in English and has earned his Master of Development Communication degree from the University of the Philippines Open University. His research interests include English language teaching and learning, stylistics, rhetoric, semiotics, linguistic landscape, pragmatics, gender studies, and literary studies. And he has presented his papers in both local and international conferences. He is a lifetime member of the Linguistic Society of the Philippines, Literature Educators Association of the Philippines, and International Alliance of English Language Teachers. He's also an active member of the Bicol Association of Language and Literature Teachers, Korea TESOL International Association for Teaching Pragmatics, the Community of Practice of the European Union's Support to Higher Education in the Asian region, the International Pragmatics Association, and a member ambassador of the Global School Alliance. Currently, he's pursuing his PhD in English Studies, language at the University of the Philippines, Diliman. So, dear Fillmore, thank you for giving us part of your evening time on the Sunday night. Thank you so much, and the screen is all yours.
All right. Good evening, everyone, and good morning as well. So allow me to share my screen. All right. I hope this is visible. May I know if everyone could see my screen now?
Yes, we can see the screen now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, yeah, once again, good morning. Okay. And good evening to everyone. I would like to double check if my screen is in a full mode.
No, it's not full
No,
mode.
it's not. Let me. Okay. Okay. Let me do it again.
Yeah, please, don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah, now,
How about this
now it
time?
is.
All right. So, hi everyone. First of all, I would like to express my appreciation to Jaime for inviting me. I've been attending this event, his events actually since last year. That's why I get to know about Raj, and of course, I get to listen more to Ron and to the rest of the participants. So, in this particular session, I would like to share with you something that I'm very passionate about. So I call it the Collaborative Online International Learning, or COIL, Pathway Towards Inclusivity and Multicultural Literacy. So I am Associate Professor Filmor J. Murillo. I am also an International Relations Officer of my university here in the Philippines, which is the Camarines Sur Polytechnic Colleges. Just a few info about my university. So our university is composed of around 8 colleges. We have around 30 programs, um, bachelor, masters, and PhDs. We have 2 campuses, and right now around 11,000 students. So as what Jaime said, I have been teaching for more than 20 years now. Now, about me. So as I have mentioned earlier, I've been really passionate about the concept of internationalization and exploring about language, multicultural literacy, global citizenship, and even digital literacy. Now, as part of my intention to be familiar more about the concepts which my work requires me to be really familiar with, I I am privileged to be accepted in some events, especially during the pandemic. For instance, in 2021, I was privileged to be accepted in the capacity building workshop, which is advancing inclusion in international higher education in ASEAN. So basically, this event was organized by Share and ASEF. Both are funded by the Asia Europe Foundation and the European Union. Now, one of the important projects that we were asked in this particular activity is to come up with a plan of action. And in my case, I specifically highlighted the role of virtual mediation in internationalization. That is why I called it the VIP, or the Virtual Internationalization Program, internationalizing student faculty collaborative online international learning initiatives toward inclusivity, multicultural literacy, and global citizenship. So expectedly, this terminologies will be echoed over again in my presentation because these are the concepts that I'm really passionate about. So why did I decide to play around with VIP? Because I know that when it comes to internationalization, only a few number of students are given a chance to go abroad to experience firsthand the culture of people abroad. Although research actually says that the number of students going abroad have doubled for the past 20 years, but I think all of us teachers would actually say, would confirm that in our respective universities, okay, maybe 5% or even less of our students are being given the privilege to go abroad because most often we lack the funding, and also there are funding agencies, but of course our students would need to accomplish or to satisfy certain requirements. So I actually played around with VIP because VIP would stand for very important people or persons. And yeah, students going abroad are considered VIP because not all of our students are given that chance. But through technology mediated internationalization, I would like uh, every student to experience different culture, communicating with their contemporaries in the different parts of the world, and um, going there virtually without spending much. And that's why in this particular project, I decided to pursue this 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 particular plan, which I have been applying in my university. Also, very recently, I am also given a chance to participate in the 2023 Virtual Exchange Academy. Very recent, actually, February 7th to March 14th. This is like a 5-week hybrid training funded by the United States of America. And and yes, the same event um, gave me more knowledge and more insights. And as far as making use of virtual technology, of digital technology, to ensure that our students, they may not be given a chance to physically go abroad because of financial difficulty, but at least they'd be able to experience the culture of other people and meet other people from other countries. And all of these activities cemented my desire to advocate internationalization, okay, which is technology mediated. That is why today I specifically picked this particular topic so that I'll be able to share everyone my experience. Now, when it comes to collaborative online international learning, during the pandemic, I was able um, to come up with several projects. So I have organized two coil projects with our partner from Ukraine, Sumi State University. So in one project, I helped in organizing the project, and I linked two faculties from my university and from the Ukraine University. In another project, I myself was a part of the teaching team who taught the class. Also, I have another core project that I organized is with a partner from India. It's called Sharon UH. Uh, the first two projects, they focus on English. Okay, this time the specific field is tourism. So this is tourism. Two of our classes, one class from our university and one class from this university from India. We put them together in a virtual room, and the two faculty members, the two professors, took turns in teaching the class. And just last year, we had this COIL project with Fayette State University from North Carolina, USA. This time, it's the COIL project is focused on business, where the student participants uh, came up with a business proposal, and they interviewed real small, medium entrepreneurs. And at the end of the COIL project, they were able to share their findings, their proposals. So based from all of these experiences, I'm really privileged to be given this chance to share with you what I've learned by far from the very short time that I've been exposed to this kind of strategy. So to start with, I would like me to highlight internationalization in higher education. Now, accordingly, the intentional process of integrating an international, intercultural, or global dimension into the purpose, functions, and delivery of post-secondary education in order to enhance the quality of education and research for all students and staff, and to make a meaningful contribution to society. So this is how we define internationalization in higher education. From the definition itself, you would see uh, really important terminologies. One, it is intentional. Okay, so you don't just internationalize higher education without a plan. Okay, you design how you internationalize higher education. You identify what factors to consider. You follow specific processes, and basically you evaluate, okay, your efforts. So it is intentional. There is this integration also of intercultural or global dimension, simply because we would like our students to be members of the global world. We want them to be global citizens, and before we allow them to experience the real world, we want to teach them, okay, these lessons that may help them become effective global citizens. And as far as the internationalization in higher education, although most of them, okay, targets post-secondary education, but I know certain circumstances where elementary and high school students, okay, also get to be exposed of in this kind of internationalization. Now, internationalization in higher education, which is the face-to-face mode, is actually been judged as elitist because it only caters to a very few number of students who have the financial capability to send themselves abroad, or to universities, to institutions who have funding. Okay, so unfortunately, not not everyone, okay, not all students are given that opportunity. So that is why observations have it that it's very elitist, exclusive also. And that is why some people decided to use technology, and virtual exchange, okay, is born. So what is virtual exchange? So this refers to the application of online communication tools to bring together classes of learners in geographically distant locations. And what's the aim? We want to develop their foreign language skills. We want to develop their digital competence, also their intercultural competence, and we would like to do it through online collaborative tasks and project work. I think all of us agree that during the pandemic, okay, it actually, I mean, we actually leveraged the pandemic to push further virtual exchange or virtual internationalization. We have seen that online communication is possible, that we can actually use online tools so that we can allow students from different parts of the world to collaborate, to work together on specific projects, on specific activities. And from virtual exchange, we have to actually answer the question, what is it not? So first, it is not competition with physical mobility programs, because virtual exchange can coexist with on-site, okay, activity or on-site exchange. For example, if you have uh, uh, an on-site student exchange program, you may kickstart it with a virtual exchange to somehow establish this kind of atmosphere that will make the student really comfortable with the program. And it is not an emergency tool to be considered only in times of pandemics and limited international travel. Even before the pandemic, virtual exchange programs have been being implemented. It's only during the pandemic that we have realized that this is something that we can actually utilize. We can actually label it as the elephant in the room. It's been there, but maybe because of the convenience of, of the on-site exchange program, we tend to brush it aside. But because of the pandemic, we are forced to actually to look at it again. So let us remember that this is not an emergency tool. Whether there is this pandemic or there is no pandemic, we are now in the new normal. Virtual exchange may still be used effectively to connect students from different parts of the world. And one of the offshoots of virtual exchange is actually COIL, which is the Collaborative Online International Learning. So it stands for, you can see it now, Collaborative Online International Learning. It is actually a new teaching and learning paradigm that promotes development of intercultural competence across shared multicultural learning environments. So you might have noticed we are again repeating the concept of intercultural competence. So in addition to that, it uses internet-based tools and innovative online pedagogies. Innovative because the tools that we are using, okay, they are constantly evolving. We still have, merging and converging tools. So really innovative in nature. And most importantly, it fosters meaningful exchanges between university level teachers and students with peers in geographically distant locations and from different lingua cultural backgrounds. Just like in the experiences I had, I have students from the Philippines, working together with students from India, students from Ukraine, students from the United States of America. So what is it not? Is it that it is not a technology or technology platform? Not a technology or technology platform. It uses technology, it uses specific platforms, but it is not in itself a platform. It is not a regular distance course, because two institutions may actually tailor fit. the program, their COIL project that they would like to implement to suit the needs of their students and to suit the demand of existing curriculum. So not a regular distance course. Okay, and it is not flipped learning. Okay, it may utilize flipped learning, but it is not in itself a flipped learning kind of approach. So from there, we have identified the dimensions of COIL. Of course, collaborative. Okay, at least two schools from two universities from two different countries uses online technology and interaction. So this is technology mediated. O, international dimensions, which is I, and of course for L, it is integrated into the learning process. And the learning process would involve creation of specific projects, interaction of students. For example, if the call project has something to do with exploring each other's languages, then definitely the learning process would involve the use of perhaps translations or the use of different strategies in using a specific language. So let me give you a very generic steps in creating a COIL project. Okay. So first, you have to determine your content and institutional resources. So there are some COIL projects where the professors would actually come up with a specific course which is not currently offered in their institutions, while other COIL projects would involve existing courses. In my experience, I would in my the four COIL projects that I've organized, all of them are actually based on existing courses being offered on a particular semester, okay, on a particular intake. So in determining your content, you have to ask yourself, of course, what particular courses will be offered, how similar are the contents of the course, how different are they. Maybe for the similarities, that's when the teachers, the professors would co-teach. And for the lessons that are different, that's when the professors would teach on their respective schools and only bring together their students when the contents are already similar. Of course, you have to consider your institutional resources. Do you have the technology infrastructure that will help you support your COIL? Specifically, COIL is very dependent on technology, on data connectivity. So you have to ask yourself if your institution will provide you with a tool, maybe with the laboratory where you will ask your student to stay, or maybe the computer units that you'll be utilizing, or maybe if the students own cell phones where they could access some of the lessons and attend some of their classes. So that's the first one, determining your content and your institutional resources. Next, you have to obtaining and developing your partnership. That's what I've said earlier. To come up with a cool project, you need to partner with someone. Maybe it could be someone that you already know, maybe someone that you met in an international conference and you realize that both of you are teaching the same course, okay? Or maybe the program that your schools are offering have similar content. So maybe you and that particular professor may may agree, okay, let's go teach. Let's bring our students together on this specific time, on this specific day, and let's take turns in teaching them. And at the end of the semester, let's ask them to come up with a project, okay, so that they'll be able to collaborate, whether during the class meeting or outside the class meeting. Of course, in some universities, the professors would require their school officials to approve the project. Okay, maybe others don't need to approve it. So regardless of you require the approval of your university, then it is very important to pick someone, a like-minded person whom you will be developing your COIL project with. And when it comes to developing partnership, it is very important to identify them using the following criteria. First, of course, equal commitment. Okay, especially if it's your first time developing the project, you need to exert your time and your effort to come up, for example, with a unified course content, to come up with a specific project that your students will be making by the end of the semester or by the end of the term. So it would require equal commitment from your sides. It is also very important to consider shared course development. Either your COIL project is anchored on a specific or existing curriculum or existing course outline, or maybe you would like to come up with a new course, okay, and a new set of course outlines. Okay. Whichever way, you have to consider that coming up with a core project would entail you to have the so-called shared course development. Then another criteria is differences in institutional cultures. So the mere location of the schools where your um, partner is located, basically that would entail, that would automatically give you difference in, culture. So for example, in my experience, we have students from Asia, and we have students from Europe, students from Southeast Asia, students from Central Asia, students from Asia, students from America. So basically, these geographical locations automatically dictates also the differences in the institutional cultures. And finally, keeping an open mind, especially if it's the first time that both of you will be coming up with this core project. Keeping an open mind, because there are many things that you need to adjust to. You need to adjust your time, you need to adjust the language that you'll be using, and so on and so forth. So so if you're done with the first two steps, then it's time to move to number three, which is beginning negotiation. That's when you start planning your COIL project, starting from who will be the faculty members, okay, involved. Uh, Sometimes you will be needing, for instance, in my case, in one of my projects, my role is to simply bring together two faculty members from my university and another partner university. In another instance, I myself was the professor involved directly in the call project, not just the organizer, but the co-teacher. Okay, so you have to consider that in your negotiation. Okay. Good if you have an international relations officer who will help you find a partner. Okay, or if you yourself personally know someone, that's what I've said, someone that you met in an international conference, and you would like to come up with a project, you and that partner, then that could be a good start as well. So of course you have to identify what particular course you have to pick for your project, what particular students, how many students are you going to be merging, what technologies are you using. For example, for meetings, will you be using Zoom or Google Meet or Microsoft Teams, etc., etc. It also goes back to the so-called the institutional infrastructure that is available for you. Okay. You also have to consider um, the schedule, okay, specifically time zones. Okay, so for example, with my project with the university with India, so India is like 2.5 hours, um, Philippines is 2.5 hours ahead, okay, Indian time. And for US, definitely morning in the Philippines, it's evening in the United States. So there are some negotiations that needs to be done, okay, so that a smooth sailing COIL project is implemented. So yeah, those three important steps will help you come up with your own COIL project. So there are different issues to consider in designing a COIL course. Okay, you start with contact information. You have to make sure that you know where to contact that person that you intend to work with. What's the easiest way for you to communicate with each other? Um, Email. or maybe WhatsApp, or maybe Facebook Messenger. In my case, in the Philippines, typically most people would use Facebook Messenger, but ever since I started working in the International Relations Office, many partners are actually using WhatsApp. So yeah, I'm now using WhatsApp, and most of my contact persons from partner universities abroad, they're also using WhatsApp. So identify uh, what's the most efficient way to get in touch with the people that you will be working with. So contact information is very important. And contact information also would include, not just their WhatsApp or the messenger number, maybe the email also. If you have other means of getting in touch with them, the more, okay, points of connection, the better. Of course, time is something that you have to consider. Okay, you have to make sure that you agree what time will you be having your coil class. So for example, in our case, it's ninth our activity tonight today rather starts 9:30 in the morning there in Peru, if I'm not mistaken, and it's 10:30 in the evening here in the Philippines. Of course, you have to, you know, to establish common grounds in as far as time is concerned. Language also is something that you have to consider. Okay, so yeah, most core projects I've known, most of them actually use English language. But for example, if you have two universities from two countries in the same, let's say, Central America, most probably you'd be using a common language also. Maybe it's Spanish or whatever language that is common or that is known to both groups of students. That is something that you have to decide on also. Course content. Again, how similar are the course content that you'll be offering? Okay. So for example, if I am teaching a course called Purposive Communication and my uh, partner is teaching a course called um, uh, English for specific, um, let's say just a generic English communication art, something like that. They may not be exactly similar, but there will definitely be certain similarities. And that's where we will build on the project course content. Assessment of learning. Okay. Confession, when I started um, coming up with Coil Project, this is something that I've actually overlooked. Okay. How will we assess the learning of the student? Okay. But of course, ever after four projects, I know now what what kind of assessment activities may be done. So it's up to you also. Specifically, it depends on the objectives of the courses that you'll be teaching, that you'll be discussing. What assessment tools will you be using? In many coil projects that I've read, okay, most of them would actually the the professors would require them to come up with a project where they will be working together. For example, in our last call, the business proposals. So we have students from my country, Philippines, students from the United States. So uh, a group is being was formed actually composed of the students from the US and from the Philippines, and they were asked to come up with a project. So basically, that's the last project. In other projects, in other coil project, the intention is simply allow the students to exchange information about their culture, cultural familiarity. Maybe they'll be asked to share specific foods that are known in their provinces or in their countries, maybe festivities, maybe rituals, okay, etc., etc. Then technology is very important. Okay, shall we use Zoom or Google Meet or maybe Teams? Do we have access to other apps? Okay, I'm sure Ron, very familiar with lots of apps. Okay, so Padlet is something that people may use. Okay, for example, increasing the students, what particular app shall we use? In asking them to collaborate on a specific document, what may be utilized. Now, of course, you have to consider also the financial requirement of using these technologies. Okay, um, luckily there are many apps now that are that free. So therefore, this may be utilized by teachers. Okay, this may be utilized also by students. Okay, so of course, if your universities would provide you with an app, and you have the school has the financial capability to pay, okay, for the subscription, okay, for the apps, then that's fine also. Institutional cultures and expectations. Okay, this is something that you also have to consider. Okay, for example, when it comes to scheduling, there's this culture in different schools have different culture. So let's say if this particular course is offered in a specific time, okay, the professor cannot change the time, regardless if this time does not match the time that the other partner school, the students from the other partner school is available. Now, in my case, for example, in my university, okay, we have this flexibility when it comes to scheduling our core courses. Okay, so our school may allow adjustment of time. Okay, but that's in our culture, but we're not sure about other universities. So again, there's still some negotiations to be considered when it comes to this specific nitty-gritty details of the core project. So institutional culture and expectations. Um, in some universities, um, teachers who are involved in core projects may receive additional incentives. Okay. In others, they don't receive additional incentive. So that's why most of them would build their core project on existing courses that they are actually teaching, so that it will not require them additional time and effort to come up with a new course. So this is something that you have to consider also. Then administrative and international program support. So if you have international relations officer who may help you come up or pick a partner from partner schools abroad, that is a plus factor. Luckily for me, my president is very supportive. Okay, on the 4 projects that I've implemented, our president has been very supportive, and yeah, maybe because he's very familiar of the implication of internationalization and the experience of the faculty members and of the students. Sometimes maybe our school administrators may not be fully open about this kind of initiatives, maybe because they're not yet fully aware, okay, all of these mechanisms. But once you share with them the advantages of coming up with this kind of projects, I'm sure they will eventually support your initiative. So that's the last issue that you have to consider also: administrative and international program support. Now, so why should we consider collaborative online international learning as
Sorry,
one of
Filmor.
our? Yes.
Yeah, before you go on, could we have just 1 or 2 minutes to make some comments or a question here in the audience?
Yes, please. Can you
So,
can you actually I'm in my screen right now. I'm just seeing my slide, so I'm not seeing if there are comments. If you have,
mm,
please let's
yeah,
hear
okay.
them.
Maybe somebody has a question or a comment before you go on, and you can drink some water.
Okay. Yeah.
So Raj, Damaris, Juan, Dan, anybody who has a question? Tanya, Santiago, Usha, anyone who has a question or a comment? Raj?
Sure, I can make a comment. I'd like to make a comment. I think as you were speaking, the whole process demonstrates the intentionality of what you want to create.
Yes.
Yeah, I just was admiring that the steps integrate the intentionality.
Thank you,
Oh,
dear Raj.
thank you, Raj.
Anybody else who wants to make a brief comment or a question? I want to know, Filmor, yeah, Damaris in Cameroon. Damaris, your microphone.
All right, I get you me. Hello?
Hello, we can hear you.
Hello.
Go on, dear Damaris in Cameroon.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I joined the meeting a little bit late. I couldn't access maybe network issues. So I would like Jacob to explain what coil course is because I was late. I didn't get it well.
Okay, cost, right? This is the financial requirement, right?
Mm.
Okay, so as far as the cost is concerned, um, the cost would involve definite technology because you need to have your, for example, subscription to apps. Although there are apps that are free, you need to have students, you need to have them access a computer or maybe their cell phones. That's why whenever I pick a particular app, I would always ask if this is mobile friendly. Because if the app is mobile friendly, then students will be able to use that app. Okay. And of course, the meeting platform would also be would be mobile friendly. Um, in my experience, most of the courses that I have made are built on existing curriculum, so it would not require additional cost on the part of the faculty members because the content is already there. The only thing that they need to do is to have someone co-teach the content with and maybe adjust the learning assessment so that it would entail collaborative efforts of the students who are part of the COIL class. I know that there are some COIL projects which would I know one in the US, they would request for grants from the government, and when they receive the grant, they would give additional incentives to the faculty members involved in the COIL project. So good if you have that kind of grant. Okay, good for you. But if your call project is built on existing curriculum, then and since uh, among us, for example, among students, they have their cell phones. In universities, we have our computer laboratories. Okay, then they would be very minimal cost since all of this infrastructure are already established, already in place. I hope that answered your question.
Well, I guess it did.
Thanks for your explanation, Jacob. Thanks a lot.
Okay, go on, dear Filmor Jacob.
Okay, so I'm halfway in my presentation. So why coil? Okay, I have to tell you that I'm really partial when it comes to this because this is something that I myself is advocating. So why coil? Of course, gives all students the possibility of an international experiences. Again, we may not send all our students abroad, okay, because I think right now it's really impossible because of the cost. But at least by using collaborative online international learning, we give them maybe not the whole experience that they would experience if they'll be going there physically, but at least a glimpse or maybe a slice of that particular experience. At least they can tell themselves that I have experience encountering interactions with foreign students who are not from my own country, and no matter how simple the interactions are, if they are intentional and the call project is well designed, well crafted, definitely the students will be gaining an international experience. It will open doors for them. It will change their paradigm, the way they view the world, especially when they get to learn that okay, people of this country do this, which are not usually observed in my country. So those kind of sharings, they would, no matter how simple they are, they create ripples that touch the lives of the students who have encountered being in a co-project. It prepares students for international mobility, whether physical or virtual. Okay. Earlier, I said that COIL or virtual exchange is not in competition with face-to-face exchange. This could be a standalone project, a call project, or it could be a part of a bigger um, cross-border collaborative project. Okay, so in this case, even before the student travels to a foreign country, okay, he has already met the people that he'll be working with, his classmates from that particular country. So this serves as a preparation for that person. At least there will be less culture shock the moment he actually encounters these foreign people in flesh. What else? Creates awareness and knowledge about other cultures, strengthening cross-cultural collaboration. Okay. This is very important now, especially with with technology evolving really fast and the world is figuratively becoming really small because of this connectivity that technology enable us okay, to achieve, then it is really important that we don't just get in touch with the people around the world, but we also understand where they are coming from, the culture that they experience, and in that way, we create more empathy, we create more compassion, and we understand where they are coming from, strengthening cross-cultural collaboration. In the real world, okay, there's a big possibility that our students will be working in a place where they'll be encountering people with different culture, people who do not share the same culture as theirs. And by experiencing COIL, then they'll be able to prepare themselves for that particular scenario. Strengthens the ability to work in cross-national and virtual teams. Okay. There is this quotation that says no man is an island, especially now because of technology migration and digitalization. It is very important for that we train our students to work in an environment where they will be encountering not just people from their own country, but people from other countries, or people maybe from their own country, but whose influences are foreign. Okay, so to be able to work in a cross-national and virtual teams, it's like providing them this environment where you simulate this cross-national and virtual atmospheres. And when we do that, we are giving them an edge to be really successful in their future work. What else? Okay, COI promotes experiential and collaborative student learning. That is why when you design a coil, you also have to make sure that the intention of facilitating collaboration is there. That's why most coil projects would always entail the creation of a specific project where the students would work together, even if they are coming from different universities from different countries, by coming up with a specific project, then they don't just contribute to that particular project, they also open themselves to people with different cultures, with different point of views. And along the way, they get to adjust their so-called, their, I actually call it the cultural temperature. Okay, they tend to adjust the cultural temperature to suit whatever cultural temperature they are having at the moment. Improves competency in English or other languages in authentic communicative contexts, of course. Uh, Again, we don't just focus on the use of the English language in COIL, but um, the co-teachers would actually design what specific language they would like to pick. Okay, and and in doing so, the students get to practice using that particular language or English in authentic communicative context because students would actually talk about specific topics, specific subjects, okay? And in doing so, you as teachers, both of you as co-teachers actually are providing this environment where authentic um, English or authentic concepts using a particular language is being explored, is being delivered. What else? It develops online communicative competence and digital literacy. We cannot just assume that uh, that because our students now they are called uh, maybe we have different labels. Okay, we call them different labels. We cannot assume that they are fully aware of how to use online communication. Okay, maybe ethically, so on and so forth. So by allowing them to experience COIL, we help them develop their communicative competence, okay, from the use of the appropriate language, from observing communication ethics, etc., etc., and also digital literacy. Digital literacy will not only cover using specific technology, but using those specific technologies in a right way. Then enhances digitization skills, which is an important 21st century skill. So I think as professors, as educators, we want our students to be not only become competent, but we want them not only to succeed, but we want them to survive. Okay, and to be able to survive, they need to harness their skills that the future requires. Okay, that's why we have the so-called 21st century skill. And one of that is called digitization. And by allowing them to experience learning in this particular technology mediated environment, we actually contribute in the development and enhancement of their digitization skills. Also, we enhances employability skills like communication, language, cultural leadership, and time management skills. Communication because they are required to collaborate with their classmates from the other university, from the other country. So communication is important there. Language, okay, whether it's English or Spanish or whatever, the main fact that you are giving them the authentic context to use the language, you are enhancing their employability. What else? Cultural leadership, because they are required to to interact with people from different cultures. Okay, and time management skills, because we don't just in COIL project we don't just meet our students on a specific time, but you also encourage them to meet outside the time agreed upon, so that uh, they may be able to, for example, discuss the projects that they would like to come up with. And in many instances, students would really get fun of each other. They would really uh, feel close to each other, that they would really interact even outside class hours. Okay, social interaction. That is because of COIL. Opportunities to build diverse personal relationships. Of course, the more people that they get to be exposed to, especially people with different culture, people from other countries, basically you are helping them build the diverse personal relationships until such time that a Filipino student may feel comfortable dealing with a student from the US, or maybe a Chinese student would really feel comfortable dealing with a student from the UK, and the other way around. We have to admit that sometimes um, some preconceived ideas would actually hamper some students to excel or to perform confidently on specific uh, environments, okay, where a different culture is being observed. Okay. The more students get exposed to these diverse environments, the more they develop their self-confidence. Okay. And yeah, there you have it. I am very happy that many of you are still here. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation. I hope I was able to share with you. I hope you'll be able to get something from my talk. And if you have any question, I'll be very happy to answer them. So thank you. Maraming salamat po. That's how we say thank you in our Filipino language.
Say that again, but slowly, please, Filmor.
Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salami.
Salamat. Salamat.
Salam. Salam.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
Sana.
no.
So,
Okay, no. Thank you,
yes.
dear. Thank you, dear
So,
Filmor, because it's been very informative. And now we know something that I didn't know, that in my country, some universities are using now. I was checking in Google, and there are some universities in Peru, in the city, capital city, Lima. They are using this way of learning. Okay, I don't know if somebody here in the audience has a question or something to say. Dear Raj, Damaris, Hondan, Tania in Lima, Santiago, Marco Antonio in Mexico, Magdalena. Yeah, Hondan. Is that the way you pronounce Hondan?
Yes.
Okay, go on, please.
And first, I want to say I'm really thank you for your wonderful presentation today. Yeah. Actually, I also pay attention to virtual exchange since the outbreak of COVID-19.
mhm.
Yeah, it actually brings me a lot of chance to meet many people and many amazing people from many corner of the world. And yeah, for me, the presentation today is very useful for me. And I just want to express my gratitude to you for this presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, dear, yeah. Santiago FB, how to deal with the students' level of English when having these meetings. Fillmore, did you
Okay.
read the question?
Yes, yes. So thank you
Okay,
for that. This is a very interesting question, actually, from Santiago. This is part of the negotiation. So when you and your partner, okay, your co-teacher, okay, that's part of the planning. You have to determine the level of English of your students. Okay. So let's say if my student is A1, your student is A1, we don't have problem. But if our students are of different level, then we need to come up with ways how to adjust the expectations. Okay, so perhaps if that is the case, for example, let's say if I am like the international relations officer and I know that these two faculty members I am helping, their students are of different English level, then maybe I would suggest I would help them look for another partner whose students are of the same level. Okay, if let's say these are the only two faculty members who would like to participate in the call project, then there will always be a midway where we could come up with projects where one student or one group of student would not find it too easy and the other group of student would not find it too difficult. Okay, and yeah, it's more on being open to the levels of the English um, facility, the English language use facility of the students. I hope, um, yeah, that's that. I think that's the term. Yeah. Just make sure that you agree on specific terms. There should be negotiation between the two partners. Okay.
thank you. Anybody else has a question or a comment to make?
Jaime, I wanted to.
Yeah, go on, dear Raj.
Well, I think you just, Fillmore, were addressing the question of language competency.
Mhm.
I know many, many years ago when I came to Canada, for instance, we came into the environment and then experimented with all those things that you are
Mhm.
now talking, that students can learn and experiment and gain their confidence online, right?
Oh,
Versus
that's good. That's good to hear.
very good to hear. I mean, otherwise people were coming into these cultures or any different culture and finding themselves learning with a steep learning curve about how to make those adjustments. Students in the programs you're offering can actually have had a foundation in that.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
definitely. And sometimes the adjustment would happen right after you started with your project. Okay, because for example, after let's say 2 weeks of meeting, of course you have to sit and you have to evaluate. So you don't just evaluate the project at the end, but there should be daily evaluation. If specifically if you were doing it the first time, so perhaps after the first meeting, okay, let's see, okay, what has happened? What are the problems that we have encountered? When it comes to the language facility, then perhaps you'll be able to agree how to deal with it, okay, and not to encounter the same problem again next time. Um, Teachers are really very intelligent when it comes to adjusting the way they teach, the materials that they use, so that they will fit the needs, okay, of their students.
Mhm. It
Thank you.
prepares people with more confidence, I think.
Definitely, definitely. So planning is really very important when it comes to coming up with a call project.
Damaris in Cameroon has a question. She says, Jacob, I'm listening to you from the hospital. How can we implement a COIL course in my school in Cameroon?
Okay, I'm very happy to hear that question. If you're really interested, you get in touch with me. Let's talk about it. Let's identify. Okay, just like what I've shared. Let's go through the process. I'm very open. I'm glad to discuss with anyone any possible creation of a co-project.
Yeah, maybe you could send us your email through the chat.
Yes, yes, please. Yeah.
Because there is Nelly from Peru. She also has the same question. How can I participate in projects like these ones?
Yeah. So let me share
Okay,
my email here.
please do. Okay, there it is. I don't know if somebody else has another question or a comment. I have a question, dear Filmor. At the end, you were talking about the benefits and the advantages of this COIL project or program. What are some of the disadvantages that you have encountered and found during the implementation of this program?
Okay. The disadvantages would be, let me see if I could think of disadvantages.
Or maybe there
Because
aren't?
most, maybe difficulties, but not necessarily disadvantages.
All right.
Because, yeah, we have difficulties actually encountered. For example, the use of technology, okay,
Okay.
picking the best technology that we will be utilizing to be used by students, making sure that they are friendly. That's what I've said earlier. Whenever I see an app, I would usually ask myself, is this mobile friendly? Because we have to face the fact that not all of our students own a computer, a laptop. So most of
Yeah,
them,
that's
especially
true.
during the pandemic, they would attend their virtual classes using their mobile phones. So if an app is mobile friendly, then it's, I think, a very good app. And if it's a free app, then much better.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Satyawati Kambale, he says, or she says, I don't know, I want to start collaboration with other country students. How can I implement it in my school? The same thing, right, Fillmore? He or
Mm-hmm,
she can write to you an
mm-hmm.
email and you will contact him or her. Okay,
Or
Satyawati.
or you may
Or
find someone who you know from other country, okay, that you think is teaching the same course that you are teaching, and you can get in touch with that person and agree, okay, we have similar course content. Which part will you teach to our classes? Which part will I teach to our classes? What activities shall we ask our students to do so that they can collaborate online?
yeah, maybe another difficulty, dear Fillmore, is if you work with the students from other continent, right? and
Mm-hmm.
and then maybe in the Philippines is the afternoon, but
Mm-hmm.
in other countries is midnight or night or morning. How can you, did you handle that problem, that difficulty?
In my case, the most extreme would be our project with the U.S. university. So our lectures are scheduled at 8 to 9 morning in the Philippines
All
and 8
right.
to 9 in the Philippines in the US. So it's it's because we agreed, okay? So if both of you agree to have that time, then I'm sure it will be fine with everyone. But definitely the students themselves, they would also agree when can we meet, and most of them would actually meet nighttime. Let's say our lecture usually morning in the Philippines, nighttime in the US. But when our students collaborate on their project, when they actually meet, okay, just themselves, they would meet nighttime in the Philippines, okay, daytime in the US. Okay. So what is important is both parties agree on the specifics of the time, the schedule.
Yeah, that's true, dear Filmor. I don't know if anybody else has a question, a comment to make.
Just one other quick question.
Please, dear
Um,
Raj.
what age or grade level are these participants usually, or these learners?
Okay. Uh, in the projects that I made, my participants are university students. Okay. Although I know specific I know specific organizations that actually facilitate this kind of interaction. One I know they actually involve uh, elementary and high school students. One time I even asked them, can I have my university students join? They told me, oh no, we will only include high school elementary for according to them for safety purposes, because university students have different orientation. At least
Yeah,
they can control the environment. Okay, when the only audience they have in the project are high school or elementary students.
that's true. Well, Nelly, I don't know where she's from. Nelly has a question. Nelly,
Yes. Good morning, everybody.
where are you from,
My
dear
name is
Nelly?
Nelly. My name is Nelly. I am from Peru, Tacna, Peru.
Okay, go on, dear Nelly.
Yeah. Hello. I have problems with my camera, but I can speak. Well, my
Okay.
question is about sorry, I am street. Um, my question is about how how can is there platform where I can get with
Hello, dear Nelly. Are you in a room? Could you please go to a window, close to a window, because we cannot hear you. There are
Yes.
internet interference.
Mm-hmm. Uh,
no, teachers are
Nelly actually
interested.
sounds choppy. Yeah. If you could
Yeah,
repeat the question, Nelly.
Yeah. Is there a platform where you're going to get together all the emails, or how is it going to work? I'm really interested about it.
Okay, that's a very good question. I wasn't able to highlight it earlier. There is actually a platform. Okay. For example, there is a platform where schools uh, need to subscribe. Okay, and it's like a platform where students can meet, where the classes are held, where the resources can be found, etc., etc. Let's just say that it's a very comprehensive platform. Okay, but you need to subscribe to that. It really entail budget, a really big financial requirement. Okay, in most of the coil projects that we used, we just utilized actually available platform. For example, for meetings, okay, um, mm, um, Google Google Meet is something that we have actually used really well. Google Meet. Now for socializations, for social interactions,
No,
we have
for the projects. I'm interested in the projects.
for
The projects, but a project like this, like to get in touch with the students from other parts of the world where
The projects, he said the projects.
the project, yes,
okay,
project.
okay. So the projects,
Sorry. Yes.
for our students from the Philippine US project, actually, they used um, Google Docs, where everyone can access the doc and everyone can work together and everyone can see who was added to the project, when was it added, when was it edited, etc., etc., etc. So we have utilized mostly free apps, okay? Because what I've said earlier, um, some universities would not actually provide an additional expense to the project, okay? But if, for example, if your university could provide you with a specific budget for that, then maybe you can subscribe to the platform. Okay, this is actually used by SUNY. Okay, and I heard that it's a very, I have not used it yet because yeah, this is something that you have to subscribe to so that you can you can use it. But whether you have the budget or you don't have the budget, you can still proceed coming up with your coil project. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, is there any other question or comment to make? I guess no. Well, dear Filmor, thank you so much for your time.
Jaime,
Yes, yes,
if I may,
Filmor, go on,
because
go on.
I actually in my participation to the virtual exchange project that I showed earlier, they
Yeah,
gave us this document, and I would like to share it. Just a quick sharing it. Just like to quickly share this with everyone. This is something to do with the so-called. Let me see. Okay, I sorry. Okay, okay. Everyone can see this.
yeah, we can.
Yo, in
Clear,
most
yeah.
virtual exchange projects, okay, according to this particular research by, okay, I have to acknowledge them, by Elizabeth Black of Global Ties US and Jennifer Chen of World Learning. They actually did this research on selecting the right tools for your virtual exchange. I would like to focus here. So these are actually the notable results on top 5 platforms for virtual exchange program practitioners, for the professors. Okay, most of them use Facebook, WhatsApp, Skype, Zoom, Flipgrid. All of this are accessible. The top 5 platforms for easy for participants to learn to use: Flipgrid, Padlet. I use Padlet. Zoom, what we're using now, WhatsApp, and Facebook. And top 5 platforms, stable connections for low internet bandwidth: Narrative Atlas, Padlet, 100%, WhatsApp, Facebook, Zoom. So all of this, most of these apps are actually accessible, free. Okay. I think a Zoom, you need to subscribe, but you can have the free version of it. And I have to admit, I have not yet explored Narrative Atlas. Okay, but in the future, I'll be exploring that, and I have to learn. Okay, and know. Okay, for myself, why this is considered as one of the top 5 platforms for stable connections for low internet bandwidth. So feel free to explore all the possible applications that we have at the moment, whether free or paid. I'm sure you get the right app for your coil project.
Okay, thank you for the information. I didn't know about this Atlas narrative either.
Yeah.
I know nothing about it. It's 100% new for me. Okay, anybody else please has a question? Nani, hello Nani from Indonesia.
Hi, Jamie. I love to join every time Rosie
Hi,
share in
Nelly.
our group. Hi, Filmor. Maybe I'm gonna invite you to one group. Is it
Yes,
Okay.
go
okay,
ahead,
Filmor?
please. Yes, go
Right.
ahead, please. I'll be happy to
Yeah,
join.
I have your email contact. I'm gonna
Yes,
contact you
yes.
through email. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, all right.
It is good because I have many students in Afghan. So it's
Mm-hmm,
kind of work together.
mm-hmm,
I first met some of them in a other group. Then they asked me privately, and I help to connect. And maybe all of us here already know the condition with women and girls that been blocked with education. So they try through online. That's I try to help a lot. I don't wanna people underestimate women and girls there. I don't like that idea. That's why
yes,
I
that's
take
very.
my own role
Mm-hmm,
how to help them. Though some from the government, Taliban especially, they still block the access through internet. Yeah,
mm-hmm,
so like they still don't wanna women and girls learn. They just know the principle, women at home. That's totally against all of us here. Why women should be at home? Yeah, what kind of generation they will educate later in the future? So most women there and girls, how do you deal with this condition? I ask them. That's our problem, Nani. That's why in a certain time, sometimes if they still have good connection, I
mm-hmm.
give class. Otherwise, they also join another academy, Rumi. Maybe Rumi will invite you. This is good spot, good uh, institution by online. Yeah, I think I've been invited many of native. So I've noticed your topic today. That's why maybe you're one of in my in my thought to invite there to share how to build a good condition with education, especially you have kind of an expertise on this part. Thank you,
Thank,
Jamie. Thank you. You give me time to talk with Filmor, so I have a chance to know him further.
thank
Thank
you,
you,
dear
Yeah,
Rosie,
thank
Nani.
you.
too.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
My
dear.
dear Rosie. Yes,
Jaime,
Dear,
yeah.
please
yeah,
do,
I'm
Filmor.
uh your comments, Nani, remind me of certain reasons why specific apps are being used. Most of
Oh.
them we use them because of convenience,
Right.
Mhm,
but
mhm.
we have to remember there are some countries where specific apps are not being allowed. For example,
Oh,
I will not mention the country, but I have
yeah,
this
yeah,
event,
yeah.
a virtual event, and I have the speaker from that country. We are using Zoom, but uh, before the event takes place, this person told me, "Can we use another platform because we cannot use Zoom?" So we used Google. So Google is allowed in that particular country, but not
Oh,
Zoom.
we need to notice this one. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
So
So that's
far, they
why.
use combination in Facebook and Zoom. This is still
Mhm,
allowed by Taliban and Iran country because they run in a certain area, neighborhood country to Afghanistan to help the women and the girl. So I consider this is might be good idea. But still, sometimes they block the signal or something.
mhm. But this is something
So
that we need to
for
consider also when coming up with a core project, the
Mhm.
accessibility of the app
Maybe we
on
will
the
discuss with
location.
you further when I invite you. It depends on your convenient time to
Yeah,
speak
yeah.
with them. Not too long,
Yes.
only 30 minutes maybe.
Mm-hmm.
There are so
Yes.
many from British, from America. I've been invited to introduce to them, and they're so happy. That's the way we need to consider. We are not living alone in this world. This is a good kind of project to share what we've been have and enjoy so far in our life relating education. That's a great one. Thank you, Bimor. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, dear
Thank
Nani,
you,
once
Nani.
again. And before your final words today, my dear Filmor, let me invite everyone again for our
Mhm.
next international meeting will be on April the 23rd, and we will have Gracia Maria Mendoza from Honduras, and she will be talking about learner engagement, why it is even more relevant after the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, so
Wow.
this is time for you, Fillmore, to say goodbye to everyone and see you next time in the future. Filmor.
So already, yeah,
you.
once again, I would like to express my appreciation to Jaime and to everyone who joined us tonight, today actually. Thank you for your time and thank you for listening to me. I hope I was able to share with you a little of my knowledge, and I look forward to continuously engaging with you in the future. Feel
Sure.
free to get in touch with me, okay? And
Yes,
let's continue this
definitely.
dialogue.
Definitely. Maybe we could have some of your students as guests. So
Mhm.
Ah,
so then they
it
can talk
will be
about
interesting.
their experience, right?
Mhm.
Yes,
I agree.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
So
be happy
thank you,
to
everyone.
invite some
Thank you so
students.
much.
Thank
Have a nice
you.
Sunday. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye,
Thank
Bye.
everyone.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
See
Bye
you,
bye.
Bye.
Raj,
Thank you.
Filmor, Juan, Nani, Damaris. Get well. Bye bye, Tanya.
Goodbye.
Saguayo,
Bye.
Santiago, Marco
Bye.
Antonio in
Take care.
Mexico, and Nelly in Peru.
Yeah. Bye. Happy